Hey, I'm Chris Anderson, cartoonist and storyboard artist on books like Lost Angels, Chaotic Neutral, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Creepshow, Heavy Metal Magazine. Today, I'm going to be talking with cartoonist Tony Fero about Slash Maraud. Welcome to Chris Anderson Comics. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm lucky to have my friend Tony Fero on the show. How are you, man? How's it going?
Good.
All is well? Good. So we're gonna get down into it here. This is a book that I was only introduced to it probably about 4 years ago. I forget where I found it. I think I found just a copy like in a quarter bin somewhere, and was so glad that I did. It is a weird product of its time. It is balls out crazy. It is super bizarre as a DC book. Slash Pod by Doug Mensch or Monch. We're not sure how you say that. And Paul Galassi did the art on it. And you picked this book as like part of your like your kind of DNA. So like this book like has a lot of meaning to you, or in some way, right?
It does. I bought that book when it came out originally. In it was in 87.
87.
Yeah. So I would have been like 15, 16 years old at that time. And it was it was like everything that I wanted at that point, because I was I was like punk rock kid. I was into horror movies and just like all kinds of shit, and it was just, and that's exactly what you want at that age when you're into that shit, and into crazy comics too, so it's like it blew my mind, and it's stuck with me forever. Like I read that comic, or at least look through it, probably at least once or twice a year, for the last 30 years or whatever.
So it like the back of your hand, it's like stamped into your eye, into your retina.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's always in my like whenever I'm working on anything, it's always like that's always part of my subconscious. It's like there's Slash Marauds in there somewhere.
So. Right. Well, I mean, just look at the cover treatment on it. It's like really is a product of its time, with like the bright color backgrounds, and even like if you look up here, like these little background things, these almost look like something you would have seen like on Saved by the Bell or something,
Right. Yeah. Or you'd see on like
time, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It looked like a pattern on the pattern on like some swim trunks or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thinking it's really cool, right?
Yeah.
Oh, let's throw this in there.
Yeah.
This would have come out probably like a year before I would have picked up my first like Batman comic that would have got me full tilt into comics. So I would have been like 12, 13, 87. I was 10.
Okay.
So yeah. So I just missed this. Now this is a bizarre book because if you look on the back of issue 2, you can see Hellblazer is about to come out, right?
Oh yeah.
And so Vertigo is not Vertigo yet. There is no home for mature content, so these are suggested for mature readers. And so it's just, and it's not it's not Batman or Superman or any of those things, so it's just kind of feels weird to be a DC book.
Absolutely. That's the weirdest thing about it, is it's not like, it feels like it would be like an epic book, or like or Vertigo, but like that, Vertigo didn't exist yet. So it's like, for that to be like just a straight up DC book is very, very strange, because it feels like an independent book to me, like more so than a mainstream book.
It really does. And then if you look at the the stuff at the bottom, it I mean, it's copyright DC, so it's not an indie book at all.
Right.
The creators don't own it. So it's just wild. The
Yeah.
first thing that struck me when I opened this thing up was that there's like color holds in it, which I found interesting because this is before computer coloring. I'm just wondering how they would have done a color hold like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've definitely seen color holds like that in going back even to like the 70s, maybe even the 60s. It was something. It had something to do with like I think. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how they do that. If you look at the original art, whenever you see color holds, it's always like drawn in like a red pen or something.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the process is exactly there, but
well, I wonder if somebody can answer that for
yeah.
us. So we're dropped into this world. This is very much like so Mensch was clearly influenced by Mad Max. He was influenced by like the Warriors, like early 80s, late 70s, sort of like street gang and post-apocalyptic stuff.
Yeah, I think
and then
Escape from New York
stuff,
right? Escape from New York is probably an influence.
Yep.
I would imagine.
Yeah, you can really feel it. Yeah. So even just the name /Maraud, right? They get in and they say his real name, and it's like not even far from that. It's just like they put a ski at the end of it, like he's Polish or something,
Yeah.
So you dropped into this world, and the first thing we see is like this like lizard thing, and you kind of don't know if it's forced perspective on like an iguana as this guy's riding his motorcycle through the desert. You can tell that it's kind of the future because there's this like readout, this like I don't know if it's almost like, I don't really know what it's supposed to be, like if it's almost like forecasting, GPS or something, but you can already tell that it's, we're not in a regular time. And then you turn the page and you can see that there's like this crazy monster going on right away.
Yeah.
And so what you learn, do you learn it through this interaction with this first guy that he meets? That there is, you can see all these like strange creatures and things happening, but this is Earth. This is in the not too distant future, probably, 1996, right? Like 9 years in the future.
Right.
But, as he's sitting with this guy, he sort of learns that there's these like aliens that have sort of taken over the Earth and are trying to terraform it to their environment.
Right.
And so we start to get into this B story here, and we go into this sort of human looking hedonistic dance club with people dressed in leather and strippers and rock bands, all this stuff happening. And then you see these guys who look like Fizzgig from The Dark Crystal with bodies,
right? Right.
Just a puffball with eyes,
right?
Which as you go on, the first time I saw this, I was like, oh, this looks silly, but that's actually a really cool design.
Yeah.
Like the more you look at it, the cooler it is, because they kind of look non-threatening and stuff, but they're like they're really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of almost of something that you would see in like it just something about the design. It's kind of reminds me of like 2000 AD or something. It's like there's something very British about the weirdness of those characters.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that. It really does feel like a 2000 AD kind of style character.
Yeah.
And then of course you got like Nazis and like all sorts of weirdos. There's this theme of like these cowboys all over this book.
Yeah.
And you get introduced to this character. What was her name? Blue. Right?
Blue, yeah.
Blue. Okay, so she's like, you can see like these aliens have people like they're treating them like pets, basically. You know, they're really taking over the world.
I would like to say one thing about Blue is I thought which struck me is that I felt like it was a pretty bold choice on Galacey's part to like give her that like zebra stripe outfit, because it's like that's not an easy thing to draw from panel to panel.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and like so he really kind of went for it on that.
And he doesn't phone it in either, because every time you see it, you know, I would have changed up those stripes every time. He's pretty much right on with it, like right down to the fact that right as it crosses her cleavage, it splits into this V.
Right.
And it seems to be like the same all over, and the line is so smooth. So clearly he's using a lot of photo reference for a lot of things. You can kind of see like when you see Slash, you'll see like Clint Eastwood, or you'll see like, other actors. So he's, using a lot of photo reference to get these beautiful drawings.
I don't want to, I don't know if this is getting too far ahead of ourselves, but this is one thing that struck me the last time I looked at it, is that as you read the series, if you pay attention to the art, like, it seems like he started using less photo reference toward the last couple issues.
Yeah.
And sorry, it was motorcycle. That's very appropriate.
Yeah, totally.
But you'll notice, like in the last, like in issue 5 and 6, like the faces start to get weirder. Like you can tell, like he was freestyling it more, and the faces just look a little bit more off. That's interesting. It's something I noticed. Like he ran out of photo reference or something.
Yeah, he loves to throw the faces in half shadow too.
Oh yeah,
all over the place.
Yeah.
But 100% not phoning this thing in.
No.
So Blue is working undercover at this strip joint. And then you start to see that the aliens have this, they've flooded Chicago. They've is the Twin Towers, and other places around the world that are just like full of these kind of vines rolling over the whole thing. And you have this sort of commander who's, this is what their ships look like. It's almost like a germ or something, or like a, some sort of pathogen, it looks like.
Yeah.
And then you've got this like commander guy who's about to be relieved of his duties. He's not, they decide he's not doing a good job, right? Because why was it? Because Slash is causing problems or something, or?
Yeah, I don't recall exactly what that was about.
So he's getting a little. I know he's getting a little too close to the humans because he's taking like these. This girl is like a concubine and stuff like that, and they're not totally into that. The other thing with these aliens is they can shapeshift, so they can look like humans.
Right.
So you don't really know who you're talking to. In fact, as it turns out here, he goes and Slash is at this place. He goes up to talk to Blue, and it turns out that she's one of these aliens as he's trying to kind of confide in her some stuff. And then he finds the real Blue sort of hidden away here.
Yeah.
And saves her. And they make a plan to escape. I think in this issue, they find out that there is this Dr. X character that sort of was the character who figured out how to terraform Earth for these aliens and turned against the aliens and is now on the run and wants to stop his own people. So they're sent on the car. That's sort of the trajectory of their mission now, is to find this Dr. X guy.
Right.
And as they're about to get it, thing blows up, and I think they're going like through the streets here, and you start to see that they're like mutating. The aliens are mutating animals, like this weird panda,
Right.
for example. And then that's the end of the first issue. We're gonna kind of cruise through them because there's 6 of them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool to see that there's like, the shadow, Chaykin's shadow is coming out at this time.
Yeah, that's surprising to me because I thought for some reason I thought that came out in '86, but I guess
It
not.
did. This was an annual, so
okay.
This must have been like right after.
Okay.
It. And then you got John Byrne and Mignola doing Krypton.
Right.
Gem World. Yeah, it's a wild. So it kind of puts you into the place. We'll talk about it as I think we get into issue 3. I have a lot more to say about issue 3 once we get into like issue 3. But we're like, so they're on the run. They get thrown into the underground of this place. There's this giant panda, definite pandemonium. The dialogue in here is a trip.
It is. It doesn't read like anything. Like I feel like Doug Moench was like he was just really going for it. Like I mean, like I don't know if he was. I don't know what he was trying to do. Like he was, but it just doesn't read like anything else that he wrote. It's totally like he was just having fun with this.
Yeah. He was paying attention. Excuse me. He was paying attention to pop culture and what was coming out. It's a very much like an '80s movie, mashup, but doing things that you couldn't do in a movie in comic form.
Yeah.
Before CG could allow you to do anything on a movie screen. They would talk about comics as like, well, it's like movies, but with a budget, the biggest budget that you could imagine. It's only your time that it takes. And that is bullshit to a degree, because it's a total different way of telling a story. But to another degree, I kind of see what they say, or see what they're saying, because this sort of puts you into a world that they couldn't have possibly made, in 1987, without looking like really corny.
But it does,
and here
it does feel like an '80s movie in a way. Like a lot of the tropes and stuff that's involved. It's almost like the ultimate '80s movie that could never have existed in the '80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is 87, so I feel like this is right past the tip of all of those movies. Those sort of movies were sort of done and going away at this point. Like RoboCop was already out,
right?
I think 87.
Yeah.
Mad Max had already come out,
right.
All this stuff. And then there's some dialogue too. So part of me, and this is not like putting it down at all, but it's sort of all part of me, especially with the dialogue that we'll get to a little later, feels like if somebody my age, I'm 40, how old am I? I think I'm 46. I think I'm 46.
Right.
That's how old I am. I can't remember how old I am.
Yep.
Like tried to write a movie, like a book for 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
I would have to refer to like the language that I used as a teen, which is no longer used anymore.
Right.
And so I feel like this is almost like an old man writing a young man's book, even though I'm sure he wasn't old, and it wasn't for, kids either.
Right. Right.
And again, this outfit, man, you're just going to see it all over. And it's so striking too. That's why both of us commented on it, is because it is so striking from everything else. That zebra stripe in white, just draws your eye right to it every shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's so many spikes, man. There's so many spikes in this comic.
So many spikes.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten we'll get into more of them, I think, in this issue or the next one, but there are even more spikes.
Yeah.
He wasn't messing around with the character design. So who are these characters? These they're like in the middle of the sticks, right? You got this like nerdy guy and this bigger lady, and they're just like living it up. Sexing it up in the woods, right?
Right.
Or in the desert, maybe. Yeah, it's like there's palm trees and stuff. So
Yeah.
um,
Oh god.
and then they get attacked, right, by these sort of, Mad Maxy gangs.
Yeah.
All right, and then we're introduced to the B team, who's not the B team yet, but it is a group of total road warrior, man-hating
Yeah.
group of feminist chicks.
Right.
Totally a cartoon of this, trope.
Yep.
And they call them the Femazons or something like that.
Yeah, it's not the Femmes. It's something like that though. What is it? Damazons or something?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Damazons. So you're starting to see like spikes all over the tires.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck, man? Like, what were you? And spikes all over the cars. What were you thinking? Her outfit. And he's not messing around. I mean, these are all like in perfect perspective.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fool around with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is like it's a kind of a nightmare to draw. Like in a lot of ways, this comic is just so many vehicles and just motorcycles and cars with spikes and outfits with all kinds of spikes. It's a nightmare to draw all that, and it's just amazing that he just really put it all in there. There was no.
Yeah, and his style is so clean too and precise that, like you and I would draw this and it would not look like this. I mean, the designs maybe,
right,
but things would be wonky,
right,
and it would still be great. This is it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's not at all the comic that, like, if you were to read the script for this comic or the outline for this comic, you would never in your wildest dreams imagine that like a photorealistic style would suit the subject matter, but it does somehow.
It works. Yeah. It works in the weirdest way because I think because it's this juxtaposition.
Yeah,
it's like heavy metal meets like preppy.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right, so that commander has been now sent to. Has he been sent to Vegas to like live out his time or whatever, and just kind of got a knockdown? What was this weird intestine wormy looking thing? Do you remember?
I do not. No, I don't.
I think it's a way for him to like communicate, like be able to watch and still like he's in seclusion, but he's still able to like see everything that's going on. I think it's sort of a communication device for that.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, I think I kind of in my many rereads of this, I tend to skip over that storyline with the commander in Vegas and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like, the colors too, like these magentas and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just like
that's beautiful. Yeah, this is definitely. I mean, I've always been. The more I look at this, it's like I'm. I definitely have this always subconsciously in my mind because. Yeah, I'm always using colors like this. This wild, bright colors. Yeah.
So they kind of get into a scuffle, Blue and Slash and the Damazons here, and their names are crazy too. And when they pop up, we'll bring them up. But so she, the kind of the leader of them, is kind of like, you're following this man's orders, like. Men are the worst.
Right.
And in this book they are.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I think that we didn't mention is that part of the terraforming that happened is there's like it unleashed basically like a virus on humankind that sort of it's sort of like made everybody, it reduced everybody to like their most like primal state in a way. Like everyone's just violent and insane, and so like like humanity has basically just become its worst self.
Right. A lot of parallels to 2024.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this is kind of weird. The jump from this to the next issue is kind of strange because you see this like this fake Bates Motel looking place, but there's like a human face stretched on this thing. So there's some really bad people.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite parts. I love this part.
And so they go to kind of infiltrate this place. These like hillbillies. These are the people who killed the people that were like sexing it up in the desert, right?
Right. Yeah.
And they call themselves the Indians, but they're like white guys, with just feathers and stuff. And they go and they infiltrate this place. They, kill grandma's old grandma, Ma Bates's head gets blown off here, and they just taken everybody out. And they come down into the basement and they see this like guy that looks like from what was that video game, like Slaughterhouse or something like that.
He's got the the skin stitched up over his face. It's like kind of like Leatherface, but somehow like even more horrifying.
Yeah, because there's no like nose or mouth or anything. It's just skin, right? Yeah, and these faces that Galassi draws are just like funny and skewed, but still highly photo roughed, and like the inks are great.
And this is adding like yet another like 80s movie trope, like the whole slasher film thing, also in there. So it's like you're getting
but right in the heart of it, it's Friday the 13th. Whether they like make a joke on here, I think like Friday the 13th part 8 or not part 9. Well, like skip forward, however many years, and we got more than that now.
Yeah.
So they go down and they think that they're following this guy with like purple clothes on, and he ends up falling out of this thing. So they realize that no, this guy in the leather face is actually this Professor X that they were looking for.
Right.
And end of issue 2. What else is going on here? Doc Savage.
Sonic Disruptors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, and Hellblazer's coming. So this is kind of a trip. This is issue 3.
Yep.
And you got this Stanley looking guy.
Right.
Who is
Dr. X.
Turns out to be. So I'll like I don't know where his leather face went to.
Right. Yeah.
But all of a sudden he's just this guy. So I don't know if there was like a note like, oh, that was too much, guys. For the issue 3, you got to back it off.
Yeah.
That leather face. Nuts.
Well, I guess maybe it was just a mask that he was wearing or something.
Maybe, but there's no like jump between like I was like, what is happening here?
Right.
Because they leave him off as him holding this like this chainsaw and this like skin face, and then you jump here and no chainsaw and regular face.
Right.
That's when and then his face changes into a fuzzball man.
Right. That confused me. That confused me so bad the first time. Or I was looking at that, I was like, wait, it's like he's standing there and then all of a sudden he's got sunglasses on.
Yeah.
But it's like his eyes changing into the
Yeah. I thought it was another continuity thing,
right.
But nope, he's just turning into one of these things.
Yeah.
And so there's a show that's on Netflix that just came out that's going to really date this video if anybody watches it. But The 3 Body Problem is, this book by this Chinese sci-fi author. I read the books; they're really great, and so far I'm liking the show. And it's really funny because every time on the show they put on this like helmet, you go and you go from like a view of like two things into one, and it's like this swirling ball, and then boom, you're in. And that's exactly what, when he's trying to explain something, you see his eyes get closer together and they zoom in to this ball, and then you actually see, they can like see what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they do on this show.
Huh.
It's a trip. So every time this this Damazon leader, God, we'll get her name at some point. These names are just crazy.
Yeah.
These people, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But every time she talks, he tries to use some sort of like African American like slang and stuff,
Right.
and it just comes off like, dude, don't. Like he even like phonetically spells it out. It's like, oof.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like as a thing of its time, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, it was unfortunately a very common thing in those days.
Well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Okay, and then we get introduced to this character. Oh gosh, what was his name again? So this is like a greaser kind of dude.
Oh, right.
He's
Yeah.
like a 50s rockabilly-ish kind of guy. Rex Rumble is his
Right.
name.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my god. So he's supposed to be some sort of tough dude, hard ass. He looks like Negan from The Walking Dead a little bit, with his leather jacket and all that stuff. And he's even got like this spiked baseball bat.
He almost looks like sometimes I feel like some of the photo references, I feel like it was Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It kind of looks like it sometimes.
Yeah, 87 probably would write right in it before he like swelled up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like that. Yeah. Totally. So the fuzzy guys have this arena, you know, gladiatorial arena in Candlestick Park.
Yeah.
There's some things that are fun that are mentioned in here that are really funny, because obviously Candlestick Park isn't there anymore, and then they're talking about like airlines, and they're like TWA and Pan Am
Right.
and stuff like that. We got to get a Pan Am plane and a TWA plane. Like, what the heck? This is hilarious. And like they go and they meet this scientist guy, and his name is Race Castigliano.
Right.
Like, whoa, dude. You really went for the deep hard Italian name there.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
Really
Race,
funny.
like, it makes me think of like the dude from Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got
totally.
Yeah.
Yep. And this guy kind of even looks like Race from Johnny Quest.
Right.
It's not.
Like,
that's not Race,
like the older dude. Well, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
there's the other dude with the white hair. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're trying to recruit these the scientists here to kind of help them foil, you know, the plot from the aliens in here. And he kind of is talking about how his son is a member of this gang. They need to raise an army. And like their best bet is to like recruit these gangs, but they're like, you know, not controllable. They're street thugs.
Right.
But my son happens to be one of them. And then, as we'll learn, his son is Rex Rumble.
Right.
And so let's see here. So I think this is like we go to like after the gladiatorial stuff is over. I think these like they're go to Candlestick Park, and they're meeting up with like these other gang people.
Yeah.
Who, you know, fight in the gladiatorial stuff.
Like a smash up derby kind of situation.
Yeah. And every car has got its own like unique characteristic. All spikes, Like everybody's got spikes and thongs and as little clothes as possible. And so they just fighting amongst themselves just for fun, basically.
Yeah.
And then you've got, you know, this. Wait a minute. There was a spot I think where like maybe it's coming up where there's like some of the fuzzies. Oh, kind of here they are watching them from like the bleachers. Like, oh my god, you know, they are way more entertaining when they're on their own. These humans, you know, when we're not watching them. And then as they're kind of going, the fuzzy guys kind of find out that they have Professor X who's on the run and is wanted as a traitor. So they kind of sneak in and they're going to replace this Professor X with another one of them. But there's going to be a tell a little later, because I think back in an earlier spot, this where is it? This lady says dig, like
right,
and he's like, dig, I don't understand. And she's like, oh, it means like, do you understand?
Right.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. This friend, Maraud's be a man, you dig? Dig? But I don't understand. You do if you dig, Doc, because dig means understand. Dig? Yes, a strange idiom. You ain't calling the Damazon Queen names, are you? And so they had that little interaction, and that'll become like important later for finding out this isn't the real one.
Right.
And then meanwhile, they flash back when they're talking to like the commander, and you see him in here, and there's this woman who's like riding him with this like gas mask.
That's one of my favorite panels in the comic. It's just so out there, man.
Yes. No, this could have been in Heavy Metal magazine easily.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised it was a mature readers thing that they didn't just go for it and go a little harder with this book.
Right.
They totally could have, and it would have, you know, made it better in a lot of ways, but it's still really cool.
Yeah.
So this is what the aliens actually look like. The fuzzy thing is just sort of to make themselves more palatable to us, I guess.
Right.
And the gas mask is because, you know, on their planet, they can breathe our air, but we can't breathe theirs.
Right.
And they're terraforming our world to like basically suffocate us, and that's why she was wearing this gas mask.
Right.
So Slash has a deal with them that, you know, if they're going to fight each other, and, you know, if Rex wins, well, Slash pays in blood. If Slash wins, then Rex has to kind of join his army.
Right.
And then like the stakes are even raised here more, because this girl comes out of nowhere and she says, how about I up the ante, vermin sweet? Join us and you'll get an extra prize on top of saving Mother Earth and breathing past the next 5 years. And what's that extra prize, cowgirl? You're drooling at her, big boy. And it's just sort of like left field.
Yeah.
You know, like she didn't even need to come up and do this. It's just like he was sort of trying to just inject sexuality in it.
Yeah.
And it really didn't feel like it was kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
But then he kind of does like address it a little bit later when they're like, why the hell did you do that? And then so they drag the real Professor X onto this train.
Yeah. Train. I love the train. Oh my god, that's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, so I think they'll show it in the next couple things. There's a lot of these big, long, double-page top splashes with these smaller panels at the bottom. That can be really effective sometimes.
Yeah, I gotta put that in my pocket. I've never done that before.
I haven't either, just because I hate laying out spreads anyway.
Me too. Yeah.
But I guess if you're gonna do it, you may as well just go for it, right?
Yeah.
Make it as effective as you can. And so they're just kind of talking about, trying to get this professor back. And then so she goes into, they don't even know he's gone yet, do they? Until she says, "Then it's settled, Doc, you dig?" And he says, "Oops, dig, but I don't." And then there's like this pause, and everybody kind of looks at him.
Oh,
you don't understand the same idiom? Is that what you was gonna say, you fuzz creep?
Yeah.
Not Dr. X, I presume. Uh-oh. Never seen this Forever People before in my life.
I've never read an issue of it. It's yeah.
I can't imagine it's good.
Anytime anyone other than Kirby tries to do Kirby stuff like that, it just doesn't.
There's a couple times it worked, but nothing is as well as what Kirby did in the first place. Grell Arrow, great shit. And then again, Hellblazer.
Yeah.
On to 4.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite issues. That the train scene is amazing.
So they realize that the aliens have been tracking them. So they send these 3 ships to them, and they start kind of blasting them, and they go underground so that only thing that they'll have is to be able to follow their heat signature. And so Maraud asks Blue to shoot this rocket launcher so it'll create heat, and they'll just blast that instead of them. And then we go on, and with this professor, clone or wannabe guy, this fake professor, she goes and does this weird thing where she like licks his fuzz.
Yeah.
And this, like, I don't know what it is. Egg pops out.
I think it's like supposed to be like his dick or something. It's like, because he's like, very, concerned about, it's like she's threatening to cut it, and he's like, it's like it's his dick, I think.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
I thought that it detached, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Because she's got him by here. And then you learn that this train here is kind of like a taking people to this processing plant,
right,
to kind of jump in the thing. And I don't know, like, what's up with the people here, but this guy, they're naked and they're jumping into this thing that's going to dissolve them. And this guy's standing here in line, and they're whipping this woman into there, and he's like, "Well, I guess this is goodbye, Campbell."
Right.
Yep, nice knowing you, Hines.
So weird.
Because they're making soup, right?
Yeah.
Stupid.
It's so dumb,
but so casual about it. Like, all right, well, I guess we're just going to be part of the DNA that's going to go into this giant thing. And yeah, here's the train. So this is the train's face.
Yeah, look at that thing. It's so crazy.
Spikes, just in case, like, I don't know, a hot air balloon tries to get him. I don't know what. Because they're so big, like, anybody could just jump in between them.
Right. They're just for decoration.
But they do look rad.
Yeah.
Here again, you see in like her costume, it's just like, dude, why didn't you give yourself a break? But,
right.
There's even a note that I wrote to myself for Three-Headed Pigman, because like the design of him is so crazy, and he's got 3 heads that I've got to draw all the time anyway. And I had this like almost Porky Pig looking Looney Tunes head for this cartoon head. And then I like drew another one in one of my sketchbooks. It was just basically like circles that made this pig head. And there's a little note, and it says, "Give yourself a break."
Right.
So Yeah, Slash is like, she's like, are you jealous that I licked this guy's thing? And he's like, no, we're like in the middle of a war. I don't have like, the last thing on my mind is boning. And she's like, what do you mean? Oh, come on. You didn't like that? Did that piss you off? What's going on? Don't you like me? And he's like, I just want to sleep. And like, can you blame him? The world's going to shit. And like, what? Come on, lady.
Yeah, that was a very weird interaction.
And so they tied this alien guy up, and he like comes as Jesus. Now today is Easter Sunday, so this is perfect.
Right.
That we're talking. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Shut up. And I thought it was really funny because it's probably around this time that Veitch is putting out that that Jesus Swamp Thing cover that still isn't released. And I just saw the other day, I guess there's like an email address that DC put out that for you to like write to them and be like, hey, put this thing out in the next like Swamp Thing collection.
Yeah.
So it might finally get an official release.
Nice.
But I thought it was funny that they're like going crazy over the Veitch thing, but this made it.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about this comic is it just seems like it was just like in its own like editorial, they just left them alone, and just because there's this book's just so crazy. Like it's to think it's just a mainstream DC book is wild. So there must have been some sort of, I don't know, some sort of deal where they had just complete control to put out whatever they want, as long as they put the mature readers on there.
Right. There's a lot of like people getting horny all over the place. Like she's like really trying to get with this Rex guy, but you know, Rex's girlfriend is getting jealous, and it's funny to throw like just like these weird relationship things in the middle of everything that's going on. And then at some point this girl, not this girl, but the alien turns itself into a girl.
Yeah.
A little kid, and this dude just like socks her.
Yeah.
Shut your gums, you stinking fuzzball. And then he just goes right to like having sex with this lady.
Yeah. And then is this where we were introduced to the, or was it? Did we already pass the part with the gay samurai?
This is him here.
Yeah.
So he's talking, and she's like, "Nice sword."
Yeah, and then she's like, "I don't swing that way" or whatever.
Yeah. And then this like Viking guy comes up.
The Viking dude comes up and is like, "Hey, what's up?" And it's like, it's like, damn, the Viking and the samurai are gonna get it on. That's weird.
1987.
Yeah.
It's pretty progressive for 1987 in some ways, and pretty not in many others. Such a trip. So the fuzzballs love to play pool.
Yeah.
What do they love? They love hamburgers. Or is it hot dogs? Rock and roll.
Yeah.
And something else they keep mentioning.
Yeah.
Like that's the only like, redeeming qualities of humans.
Right.
And we're back on the train, and these like crazy people are like toot toot.
Yeah, they're like they're eating these gumballs that are like some sort of, they're like stimulants of some sort.
Yeah, it's like they're like like taking meth or something in these like so they just go. But because they're like pushing it so hard, the ships that they sent to kill Slash and everybody down underground don't have enough fuel to get to the train in time, because they know that Slash and them escaped and are going to try to get to the train and do a rescue. And it really makes people look real crazy.
Yeah.
These gumballs. And you can see they are like in literal gumball machines.
They're like, and now they're like starting like turning into like these like sort of Big Daddy Roth kind of monster guys. It's like it's
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah. That one in particular, and his cartooning style just changes too. It's
Right.
really strange.
This
There's
is
a
what I'm
few
talking
things.
about.
Oh yeah,
The last couple issues, it's like it starts getting more loose.
yeah, and then like so they're trying to attack the train here. This is one that I thought was really crazy too, because look at this progression of panels. It's so Looney Tunes. Like they throw the guy from the train, he hits a pole, and then slides down the pole in the same position, like
Right.
like Wile E. Coyote.
Right.
And this thing is so set in reality for the rest of it, and then you get to these guys, and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
All right, so they got the professor, you know, he's hitting on her, she's not having any of it. This girl's, you know, busts in, helps out Slash. They blow up all these gumballs. They're having a great old time, killing all these crazy people. And then she goes and kisses Slash, but look, over in the corner, Blue sees it.
Yeah.
She ain't having that. She wants her some Slash, and Slash just told her, so that's not gonna fly. There's some Young and the Restless in this book too.
Yeah.
You know? Like he's got like daytime TV on while he's writing in the morning, and then Warriors and the Road Warrior on at night on his VCR.
It's crazy. It's like I wonder. I would love to interview Doug Moench about this book, because I really want to know what was going through his head. Like,
well, let's track him down.
Yeah.
Let's get him on here.
Yeah, because is he still alive?
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just it's insane. There's so much crazy shit going on in this book.
Yeah, so they crashed the train like into the processing center for the DNA with the people soup. One of them anyway, because there's several. And here we got Blue showing how unhappy she is with Slash. That this chick, what's her name again? Deb O'Neill.
That's right. Yeah, I knew it was something really weird. Deb O'Neill. Yeah.
Oh, everybody's got just terrible names in this thing.
It's
good.
It's very tongue in cheek, though, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I think you have to go into it being serious about the cheese.
Yeah.
And then it works.
Yeah.
You know. Because RoboCop, when they made that movie, wasn't supposed to be silly.
Right.
Or whatever. You know. It is what it is because of that.
What I wonder is how much of this was a collaboration between Doug Moench and Paul Gulacy. Like how much of it was I wonder how much of it was Gulacy going to him and saying this is what I want to draw, and then he just wrote the story around all this crazy shit that Gulacy wanted to draw, because a lot of this stuff is very much in Gulacy's wheelhouse,
Right.
So I wonder about that.
But you say that it's really not like anything else that Moench wrote.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not.
Because I'm not really familiar with his writing, so.
Yeah, it's visually very similar to a lot of stuff that Gulacy has done, though. So I mean, I wonder how much the story was written to cater to his art,
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, I'm guessing probably a lot.
Yeah.
So then you go and you find out this character shows up. He is a Chicago bear.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a literal bear.
He's a literal bear.
Yeah.
That the aliens turned into Not since the Shapers first bared my jeans. In fact, I understand the whole town is underwater now, being Chicago. But yes, it's fairly evident that I am one of the notorious Chicago Ursine experiments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so cute. So this was Rex's lady. And she's like letting him know that, you know, I'm going to go off and have sex with this bear man now.
Right.
So later. And
Yeah.
and she thinks that this lady thinks it's like hilarious. And so this is sort of where the army is going to gather, and it's in a bowling alley. They're like burning bowling pins to like keep warm.
I like
There's
that.
like a dead guy who drank himself to death in the bar. Yeah, it just gets weirder and weirder.
Yep.
And then we find out that there are these like different gangs. So these are the Yankees.
Yeah.
Here that control this territory, and then they drop a lot of racial expletives in here that you would never use.
Yeah, when the Nazis, when the Nazis show up, they start throwing around the N-word like all willy nilly.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
it's like, oof.
Yeah, that's jarring to read in this day and age.
It really is.
Yeah.
Having, you know, had some time since then. Yeah, and then these Nazis show up, and they're like, you know, as bad as the humans really get. But they take him out, and they go underground. The Nazis take him, and they tie him to this wrecking, like half the group to this wrecking ball, while the other half the group gets split and goes to this other place where they run into this other gang of like Christian soldiers.
Right.
Like, man, like what can we throw at the wall?
Yeah. It's like it's just the entirety of the 80s in one book, man. It's insane.
I love kitchen sink stories that work.
Yeah.
You know, just let's throw it in and let's make it fit and let's make it work and not put any like square pegs in round holes. It all fits.
Yeah.
Because it's just bizarre. So the Christian soldiers give them ammunition to go and do this thing. You know, the Nazis have them here. They're going to swing and get them, but they get taken out. And let's see. Oh yeah, underground. So there's one of their friends ends up finding a plane, and he's going to pilot this thing. And the doctor that we were introduced to, Race Castigliano. Yeah, Race Castigliano, and his son finally meet up again. See here. So that's the end of that issue. Man, I loved Checkmate. Just the design of the suits.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I don't know anything about the story. I had them, like, there were some of my first comics for Checkmate just because I thought they were cool looking suits.
Who drew that series? Do you know?
This one, it says, let's see here. Created by Paul Kupperberg, John Byrne, and Steve Irwin.
Oh, Steve Irwin. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right, this is it.
Yeah.
Thrilling. Oh, look, the weird is Bernie Wrightson and Jim Starlin.
Yeah.
It's coming out.
Yep, that was
a great series.
Yeah, I definitely bought that when it was coming out. That was a good.
Yeah, I didn't get it until a couple years ago. I missed it again because it would have been, you know, this is 87, so like 88 would have been when I first started really buying for myself.
Right.
All right, so they're on a plane, and this plane flies all the way over to Paris.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So the reason they're in Paris is because the Eiffel Tower is where the fuzzballs are injecting this thing into the earth,
Right.
in order to terraform it. And you know, this ragtag bunch of outlaws are going to take them out. So this concubine of this guy, you know, he's had enough of her at this point, but then a bomb is sort of dropped on them, and he's like upset. He's just when I was finally going to fry her myself. All right, so they're on the run. Oh, so what was supposed to happen was they were going to go down, and they have to get to the Eiffel Tower. They have to get the doctor there so he can drop this thing down to kill whatever's terraforming the earth.
Yeah, it's like an antidote to the terraforming, I guess.
Right. And they're going to have like a decoy bomb that the plane is going to drop. But the plane, they see it get hit by like a laser and start to go down. So they're like, all right, we're going to have to like just go in guns a-blazing, all out battle to the end. And in the meantime, you know, the bad guys are gearing up to go get them. But oh, what's this? He didn't die, and he drops, and he goes and he like kamikazes into this thing, and you know, throws everything into chaos. And then the battle really happens. The bear gets shot. Oh my god! And then she goes to console the bear, and then she gets shot. Oh my god! And then he goes to console her, or like, you know, as she's dying, and you know, Dad comes in to like help him out. Meanwhile, underground, you know, the professor, he's sitting here for a second having like second thoughts. Is he doing the right thing? But no, he thinks he's doing right. And these two, they're getting a little closer to each other. And it's here the professor has got to like put some of his own. Oh no, it's coming up. So they're just sort of like coming in trying to take these guys out. And the replacement commander and the old commander are now like at odds with each other. The old commander takes out the replacement commander. What we got here? Kurt Swan and Jerry Ordway doing Superman.
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter.
That was a good series. Mark Badger.
Yeah. Yeah, you're starting to get some interesting art. And so they take out the big ship. And so in order to make this thing go faster for some reason, I didn't really get why, but the professor has to add like some sort of like who wills assist to Blister from his palm, and he has to squeeze it into like the antidote,
right?
So that it instantly travels around the planet. I never really understood that part.
The ending is very strange. Like I don't quite understand everything that happens here. It's kind of a little bit jumbled. Like it feels like the ending was a little bit hastily written.
Yeah. And yeah, the way that this guy talks, like talks about like, you know, he talks about like Trigger the horse, and he talks about like John Wayne movies and stuff like that.
Right.
And he's like this tough guy. He's like very much, you can tell that, you know, it's written from that probably wasn't like cool and hip in 1987 anymore.
No.
Maybe like 1967.
Right.
but it's just funny. And then they go up, and then like this guy on this ship, he just sort of like gave up. He's like, the guards are dead, humans. The injection pump is all yours. Like, okay. All that in the last little phase, okay. And so got the Wrath of the Spectre. They go and they put it into the Eiffel Tower, blow up the last ship, shoot it into the ground, and then all of at the same time says, "Indeed, everywhere on the abused and partially reshaped planet, chaos explodes, abruptly forced to go cold turkey. Mother Nature is just like any other junkie, getting the shakes as she breaks out in cold sweats of hot fever, unleashing floods, fires, quakes, and avalanches, apocalyptic storms, hail the size of bowling balls, geysers of lava, whirlwinds of boulders, berserkly dancing jungles, splitting trees, folding cities, sloshing oceans, collapsing mountains, and sinking islands. If one had a million eyes, it would be some sight to see."
Yeah. That's
wow.
Amazing.
Good job, everybody. Good job.
It's like beat poetry.
Yeah, really, totally. Yeah, and yeah. And then they come down and they like the commander shoots, Professor X and then shoots Blue here, and then it turns out to be like another fuzz, like they replaced Blue.
Yeah,
but
again,
only just for like the last scene, I guess.
Yeah, like I don't know how long she was replaced. Just
right, but the real Blue is there.
Right.
So they just repeated the thing that happened in like the first scene of the series.
Right.
It's kind of interesting. And then, they got all their fallen comrades, so they like burn them. Oh, the pilot survived though. Somehow.
Yeah.
And Slash walks off with his new girl, this April O'Neil looking girl.
Deb O'Nair.
Yep, Deb O'Nair. And like that's it. They walk in literally into the sunset. The end.
I love that at the end where two were like Blue's like, how long do you think it's gonna last with you guys? Where he was like, 3 months tops.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Like she'll be around.
Yeah.
She'll she can't get enough of that Slash Maraud.
Yeah.
So, and that's it, man. This is a wild series.
It is.
It is, and like the books themselves actually hold up really well too. Like these are breeder copies, and they're like they're sturdy, and the paper is great, and the colors are still good. It's like wow.
Yeah, that Baxter paper,
Yeah, man. Well, I can certainly see how it influenced your storytelling in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Especially in
yeah, it's just I don't know. I just love how over the top it is, and without being, I mean, it's not like self-consciously over the top as much, as a lot of things that are these days. Anyway, a lot of people are doing very over the top stuff self-consciously, but I don't know. There's something more in it, like innocent about it, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, when it's not forced. It's not supposed to be like. I mean, it is supposed to be over the top, but like over the top for the time and what it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes when people set out to make something that's edgy or whatever or anything, time can turn it into something else completely.
Right.
Like look at like Return of the Living Dead or for the 100 millionth time RoboCop, which wasn't supposed to be like weird and silly. It was supposed to be this awesome future 80s thing, and then you look at it now, and it's still exactly what it was supposed to be, but you
Right.
know, you're looking through it a lens through time, and it's kind of morphed into something else, and
Yeah.
it wasn't forced. You know, it's plenty of people will go and be like, oh, I want to make something like that,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't work.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
but yeah, like definitely, like even the color scheme, like with your Ulf Maverick books.
Yeah, I mean the second one there, I mean the Street City Nights, like that was, you can tell it's obviously I was straight up ripping off the Ulf Maverick design.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Or,
Well, dude, thank you so much for like giving me a reason to put this book up. I mean, it was going to go up anyway, but you know, at some point, but I'm glad I got to talk to it with you, like somebody else who loves it.
yeah, I don't think that's ever been collected, has it?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I haven't found it. I had to, you know, eBay all
Yeah.
the issues. So
Huh.
yeah, like maybe one day they'll do it, and then they'll just like recolor it and destroy it.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's out there in dollar bins and 50-cent
yeah,
bins and stuff. I mean,
totally.
yeah.
So if people want Ulf Maverick or your other books, where are people going to go to find it?
Rubberwolf.bigcartel.com.
Okay,
That would be the place to go.
that's the shop.
That's the shop, yeah.
And then online, you are Instagram. You're Big Tony 308, right?
Right. Yep.
Cool. Oh, actually, it's right in the ticker tape, isn't it? Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check out Tony's work, man. It's really, really inspiring and great. And thanks for coming on and talking about this, man.
Yeah, no problem. It's a pleasure.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Right on.
Join my Patreon to see my work before anyone else. Plus, score physical sketchbooks, mini comics, and commissions delivered right to your door. And reading my new books, Something Seems Off and Three-Headed Pigman, as they are made. Go to my website to order original art, commissions, and my books, Lost Angels, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Chaotic Neutral, and more. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson, is available now from Cosmic Lion Productions. Here are the upcoming conventions I'll be at the time of this recording. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps spread the word. Thanks.